Could you guys ever imagine what it would be like if like your worst fear were to come to life one day? Like seriously, as dumb as it sounds, like could you guys imagine if like you're watching the movie Jaws, right? And you genuinely build a fear of sharks after watching this movie, and then you just go into the kitchen and start cooking dinner, and then you look over your shoulder and there's a man with a shark head like standing right there. It's kind of like living in JJK, where a group of people would think of a fear or, you know, a certain negative emotion towards an object or person or animal. And then if enough fear or hatred or anger is built up towards that certain entity, then it would create a cursed spirit. See, as long as the community is focusing all of their negative emotion towards a certain object, then cursed spirits could really be anything. They could look any type of way. They could be based off of anything. It just needs the negative emotion based off of fear, anger, hatred, anything that would cause a negative reaction. Later, we are going to discuss what type of cursed spirits are out there, how they can be created, and what are the best ways of battling against a cursed spirit. Before we get into that, please guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that noti bell, because I know you do not want to miss any of the videos that are coming out, because JJK's manga just keeps getting better and better every single week. And if you guys like this video, then I'm positive you guys are going to like my other videos, such as explaining cursed energy, explaining domain expansions, ranking them, and videos like Heavenly Restriction. Before I explain to you how a cursed spirit is created in a sense, let me educate you on some history of JJK. How cursed spirits have been around humanity since the dawn of humanity, since negative emotions have been around, since humanity has been around. There's a very large gap and lack of knowledge in the Jujutsu Society about when the originating cursed spirit was born. So we don't know who was the first cursed spirit. We don't know when they actually became a thing, but it's safe to assume that they've been around since humans have been around. See, other than the modern day, the era that has the most amount of history of cursed spirits is the Heian period. The Heian era affected the Jujutsu Society the most than any other era. This was the dawn of the greatest sorcerers and cursed spirits that's ever existed. This is also where Ryomen Sukuna got the title of Ryomen and became the king of curses. Since you have Ryomen Sukuna, the strongest sorcerers ever, the strongest cursed spirits, it was titled the Golden Age of Jujutsu. So, and it's actually one of the things Kenjaku wants to see again in JJK. So, in the history books with Jujutsu Society, the Heian era and the modern day, those are the two time frames that we really care about. Now that the history lesson's done, let's talk about the modern day, right? So in the modern day, cursed spirits affect the world with unexplained disappearances, unexplained deaths, things of that nature. We're later told by Megumi and Gojo that these unexplained deaths and disappearances exceed about roughly 10,000 annually. So quite a few things happening in Japan that most people can't explain. You guys got that? Cool, great. Hold that. And let's move on to how cursed spirits are created. Cursed spirit is created through negative emotions by the community in a certain given area towards a certain thing. So say that there is a massive tsunami and the community lost a ton of people during the tsunami, right? So if all of Japan had a hatred towards a tsunami, it would create a very powerful cursed spirit based off of that tsunami. Whereas if, say, there was a car accident and a bus hit another car and everybody on the bus got injured, so say 20-ish to 30-ish people had hatreds towards vehicles after that, probably would spawn a cursed spirit, probably not the strongest, but it would do some things. This is probably the part where you guys are thinking, and what type of negative emotions really should we be thinking about? Like, you keep saying negative emotion, but like, is hatred the only one that like counts towards cursed spirits? No, not really. Like, you could be sad and create a cursed spirit just based off of sadness, despair. Anything really can create a cursed spirit if it makes you feel anything but happy or normal in a sense. So if you're walking around and you're having a really hard day and everybody around you seems like they're having a hard day, like on Mondays, and it just feels like the soul is being sucked out of you, who knows, maybe enough of you feel that way where it would create a cursed spirit. A couple dozen people can create a cursed spirit that would more than likely cause inconveniences. It's not going to be anything more powerful than, say, for example, the cursed spirit that Nanami exercised at the bread store with that young girl, or In episode 0, where Geto exercised that one cursed spirit that was on top of that girl that came to see him in the monk temple, that's about as strong as they're going to get. But what you guys want to know, you guys, you guys want those deep-rooted hatred towards a certain entity. Like, that's what you guys care about. You want a large community that came together and just absolutely despise something. It's like in Avatar. Everyone hates the Fire Nation, but that would create such a powerful fire cursed spirit. Well, my friends, since that's what you guys want, that's what I'm gonna give you. So, in Jujutsu Kaisen, there's a power system, and that's where it comes into play. Cursed spirits are ranked the same way sorcerers are ranked. So you got grades 4 through 1, and you got special grade. Now, there's that caveat of being semi-grade 1, but, I mean, potato, right? So you got grades semi-grade 1 and above. They're able to communicate and use Jujutsu, so that's really what sets them apart for the rest. So those are your heavy hitters in the Cursed Spirit Avenue. Grades 2 and below, they're not able to use Jujutsu. They're not able to communicate. What you can expect from them is melee attacks, such as like clawing, biting, punching, kicking, things like that nature. In areas that are, say, hospitals, schools, prisons, you need an area like that can really foster that deep hatred in order to create a semi-grade 1 or above cursed spirit. Like the one that the gang, Megami, Nobara, and Yuji, they were faced off in the prison. That cursed spirit was a special grade. Prison. It's coming together. You're seeing it click, right? But it's not just that negative things happen here. It's also the areas that have that large community that allows for a cursed spirit to be born. Because when you have a good bit of people in one area, I mean, people are different. Some things are going to trigger others than, most people. So cursed spirit is going to be born easier just when you have more people around. The cool thing about cursed spirits, which is not really a cool thing, I guess, for them, but a cool thing is that you could spawn multiple cursed spirits. So, like, say 50 people really don't like a ruler because it's used to hit them, right, in a school. And then 50 people don't like a dodgeball because they have bad experiences being hit by them, right? So now you're spawning these low-level curses throughout the school because everybody has some type of negative emotion towards something. But are there more cursed spirits than just the traditional grades 4 through 1 and special grade curses, right? Like, are there more than just these low-level inconvenient curses, or like the finger barrel curse, like that we saw in the prison versus Yuji and Megami? Like, what are the types of curses that we could really expect to see? And my answer to that is yes. There are 3 types of classifications to cursed spirits that we can put them into, regardless of them being grades 4 through 1 or special grade. We have vengeful cursed spirit, imaginary vengeful cursed spirit, and disease cursed spirit. Starting off with a vengeful cursed spirit. See, these are cursed spirits that originally were human, but then passed on and became a cursed spirit after they had passed on to the afterlife. They never really made it to the afterlife, though, since their soul was turned into a curse. See, those who pass away from anything but Jujutsu have the potential to become a vengeful cursed spirit as long as their death was cursed. Looking at Big Yuta and Rika on this one for an example. So, you know how Yuta watched Rika pass away because of a car accident, and he cursed her death because he could not accept it. So Rika did not move on to the afterlife. She, in fact, stayed behind, turned into a vengeful cursed spirit, and she was with him ever since until episode 0. So you're probably thinking to yourself, it's that easy, right? Anybody can make a vengeful cursed spirit happen as long as they don't use Jujutsu, right? Nah, it's not that easy. Yuta's a special case. I'm probably going to obliterate this, and I have to read this, but he is the descendant of Mishizan Sugawara. Basically, what this cursed entity was one of the big 3 vengeful cursed spirits of JJK. The big 3 vengeful spirits became the big 3 houses in Jujutsu Kaisen. So in the Jujutsu Society, we have the Gojo family, God, why am I blanking? The Kamado? No, that's Demon Slayer. The Kamo family. And then the Zenin family. Got him. This is also how Gojo knew that Yuta was a distant relative of his is because obviously Gojo's the head of the Gojo family. Oh, in a nutshell, vengeful cursed spirits are just people who passed on via non-jujutsu means, and their death was cursed. Now they become a cursed spirit. That easy. I'm saying that easy when it's completely not easy whatsoever. We're going to move on to imaginary vengeful cursed spirits. So they're kind of the same thing, but totally different. Imaginary vengeful cursed spirits are based off of ghost stories, for example. So like the Loch Ness Monster or say Ryomen Sukuna. In super layman's terms, we are basically just looking at them as shared images of fear. We are thinking this is what that object probably looks like. This is what that ghost story looks like. And we're scared of it. So we're going to create this cursed spirit now. Since I already used Sukuna, I'm just going to roll with him on this one. So Sukuna, he was a human at one point in the golden age of Jujutsu. But when he passed, people gathered up this imaginary fear of a demon god surrounding his name because he was just so powerful. And they imagined him having 4 arms and 2 faces. And thus, his cursed spirit, his true imaginary vengeful cursed spirit, has 2 faces, 4 arms, and he looks absolutely menacing. Pretty good design, honestly. And since so many people through so many generations feared him, it turned him into an absolute unit. He turned into an absolute unit. Like, this guy is the undisputed king of curses. And you do have some heavy hitters in JJK. Characters like Joko, for example, with Maximum Meteor, that thing is massive. And then on top of that, do you see how Mahito's able to turn his body into anything when he's fighting against Yuji? Like, he is so intelligent during combat. Like, his battle IQ is ridiculous. I really need to rank the disaster curses on their, like, abilities because Mahito's so skilled in battle. It's disgusting. All right, anyways, though. So, let's get back on track. We're talking about disaster curse spirits now. They're the last one that you could classify out of the 3 of them. So, these curse spirits are general sicknesses. So general sicknesses that have been cursed by humanity, right? So we're talking about like the smallpox deity, right? So smallpox. We're talking about the Black Plague. We're talking about COVID-19. Let's go. Boom. That's the one we're going to talk about. If you guys don't know, I think I said at the start of the video, I'm currently working full-time in the Army. And I personally had a hand in COVID, working on a task force that we were trying to help the civilians while COVID was going on during the pandemic. So whether it was us serving in a rapid test site or the hospital or even nursing homes, there's so many lives that are just affected by how COVID really like affects your immune system. And I've had COVID 3 separate times and then like really knocked me out one time with the flu combo where like now I need this inhaler. It is crazy how bad COVID could really hit you. And we took care of a lot of people during COVID and tested many, many people during COVID. But my God, did they have an impact on humanity. And that would create such a powerful disease cursed spirit from how crazy COVID was. It spread everywhere so quickly. It affected so many lives. It unfortunately took so many lives. As the name suggests, the cursed spirit's technique would be its disease. So the smallpox deity is the easy one to talk about. It would give you smallpox in its domain, and then you would be no longer with us because of that. But now that we classified the 3 types of cursed spirits that you can have, being a vengeful cursed spirit, an imaginary vengeful cursed spirit, or a disease cursed spirit, let's talk about how to exercise these types of curses. So we did discuss how cursed spirits are, in a sense, just cursed energy. They are formed from negative emotions. Those negative emotions turn into cursed energy. Cursed energy creates a entity known as a cursed spirit. So how do we know from what Megumi's told us? A curse can only be injured by a curse. So it means that if I go up to it and I punch it or kick it or even, grab a handgun and shoot it, it's not going to do anything. Like, it physically will hit it, but it's not going to cause any damage. So you need cursed energy imbued in these items or punches to injure a cursed spirit. There is one thing that this won't count for. So like you can hit a cursed wound death painting and it will cause damage regardless of cursed energy being imbued into your hits or not, just because they needed to be incarnated through a human being, a living human being. So that's a caveat. Also, if you guys want a video covering Cursed Womb Death paintings, let me know in the comments below. Love to do that for you guys. So Hen, what is the only way to exercise a cursed spirit? Jujutsu. Pretty easy. If you could exercise a cursed spirit using Jujutsu, that's fantastic. Love that for you. You are a sorcerer that's able to get rid of cursed spirits. However, what happens if a cursed spirit is too powerful, such as Ryoma Sukuna, for example, and you can't get rid of it using Jujutsu because you just can't exercise this cursed spirit? Well, the option for sealing it and a couple other loopholes exists. How Sukuna was sealed with 20 of his fingers times, these plus more. With 20 of his fingers into using constraints, they were able to seal them away so that they wouldn't leak out as much cursed energy into the world, drawing any more curses to them or making any more curses more powerful. They did become cursed objects at that point once you sealed them away, which isn't a bad thing, but if a cursed object is very powerful, how Sukuna's fingers are, then the seal eventually becomes undone, if not very weak. So basically you have to monitor that cursed object so that you can be aware if the seal is being loose, like how Megumi was tasked with finding that cursed object, which was Sukuna's finger. So that way, you could redo the seal so he doesn't get out. Or, a teenage kid in high school does not swallow the finger. Things like that, maybe. And that's it. That's basically everything you need to know about cursed spirits, from the Heian era to the sort of beginning of cursed spirits, the modern era, how to exercise them, and what classifications of cursed spirits you got. Did you happen to learn anything? Did you feel like you learned everything that you didn't know about cursed spirits? Do you feel like you finally are starting to understand Jujutsu Kaisen? Or do you feel like I'm just babbling on and I know nothing about JJK? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. While you're down there, this is just a thought, but do me the favor of liking the video, subscribing to my page, and hitting that noti bell, because I'm dropping 3 times a week over here, and I'm sure that you don't want to miss a video. Please, guys, keep tuning in because I am super excited to keep recording for you guys. But I do gotta say, editing these videos is draining. All right, see you guys.